I'm the type of guy like I'm competitive. I love cycling and I love like essentially every ride is a race. But I feel like
Ooh.
there's a lot of guys in the cycling, and this is not meant to be offensive to anybody because this is just kind of how it is. But they just take things too seriously. Like, why can't we all be competitive and be friends, but and not just be a dick to everybody? So, pardon my language, but
NSFW, brother.
there's a lot of dudes that are just kind of jerks, and I kind of want to change that the view of cycling to like embracing and like I mean it's already hard enough to find people to ride with. Like, why do we got to be jerks to them and leave them out even more? So I love community. You guys have an amazing community, so just being able to join in with that has been a lot of fun for me.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Duole podcast. I'm Stuart Anderson. Just a short introduction before we hear from Noodle, Brandon Nelson. Grateful for him, thankful for his influence, friendship, example, and just competitive nature amongst the team. You might know Brandon specifically from our Zwift time. He lives up in Idaho, but super grateful to connect with him. Thankfully, joined us at camp last year. He's coming to camp again. And anyway, we'll talk all about that, how he's connected to the team, and some of the great things that make him such a special man and inspiring friend. Grateful for Brandon. Thankful for Ryan Welch, who also joined. Him and Brandon are close. They connected through a bunch of Loaded Your races, and he's kind of our connection to the team. So thank you, Ryan, for joining as co-host. Looking forward to camp in a couple weeks. We're grateful for Jake Cook and all those who are part of planning camp. It does not come easy, right? It takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, and a lot of money. So we're excited to be together for camp down in St. George. Looking forward to a lot of new and fun things. Specifically, I'm most excited. I know this sounds silly, but I'm grateful for the ability to give everyone who's coming a jersey. I know that might sound silly, but it's been a long time coming where members of this team are given a jersey as they sign up and pay team dues. It takes a lot of work, a lot of incredible sponsors. Cyclingupgrades.com and Corby are a huge part of that. We're so grateful for them and thankful for everybody that makes it possible for us to be at camp and enjoy the things that this team has. So thank you. We're looking forward to being together. Team store is open. We talk a little bit about that in the podcast, but just as an announcement, that is open. You can order now until the end of March. This is 2025, end of March, and kits will be shipping again in May. Then once they ship, we'll probably open it again and kind of repeat that cycle over and over again. So looking forward to all new kits and the fun new design that we have this year. Hopefully everybody loves it. It took a lot of time, a lot of kind of stressful to design something that everybody spends so much money on, as well as what we look like, what we wear. So we hope you love it. Hope you have great pride in wearing the team kit and flying our colors. So thanks everybody that tunes in. Grateful for all of our listeners. Thankful for this amazing team. Specifically grateful for our great sponsors who are all members of this team and part of the group and community that we're a part of. So thanks everybody. Grateful you tune in, and hopefully you enjoy this episode. Thanks. All right, what up? All right, here we are. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Stuart. Ryan Welch. What's up,
Good to
Ryan?
be here. Thank
Very
you. Thank
good.
you.
And we just had this lovely discussion. Welcome, Brandon Nelson.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very good.
Glad to be here.
AKA
So,
Ryan Welch, AKA his name that Ryan said he'd never let die.
Noodle, the infamous Noodle, Noodle Nelson.
Noodle
I mean, is
Nelson.
that still your Strava?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Not it's not Strava, but it is Insta.
got it.
So
Got
And
it.
it's not Zwift anymore. We adjusted that.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. This is episode 119, by the way. I don't know if anybody's tracking. It's been 2 months since an episode. We took a little break. I felt like a little hiatus was needed. Did anybody miss us? Right?
I missed it dearly. But during the hiatus, I feel like I saw you plenty on Zwift.
I needed a podcast break. So
That's fair.
yeah. Last time we met was with Mr. Left Hand. Did you guys catch that episode?
I did indeed.
Dude,
Some very wonderful pieces of knowledge about his life. It's great.
A lot of high calorie meals since that
a
episode.
lot.
A lot of high
Yes.
calorie meals.
Yep.
Team camp, we're all going. I'm very excited. That's in how many weeks? Not next week,
I
but
think we're like
then
16 days out, right?
yeah, then the next week. So not
Hmm.
next week, then the next week. That's
Yeah.
great. Very good.
For me, team camp is always the light at the end of the tunnel. Zwift season's finishing. We're almost there, unless you live in Idaho Falls.
Oh, wait, but he's coming. Brandon, you're coming,
Look at,
right?
yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I just mean his Zwift season continues for another month or two.
The real question is, do you get to fly in a private plane down to camp?
No,
No.
I may live in Idaho, but I'm not as cool as those Idaho boys. So
Jeez. Man, oh
yeah,
man.
I have to drive in a car. Peasant.
Poor.
Huh. Couldn't be me.
Uh, what else? Oh, we got kits. Ryan, you've worn our thoughts. Not like you would talk bad about our new design, but
Yeah, I'm just gonna get on here and no, I'm just kidding. I love the simplicity. Honestly, I think it looks great. I know that people really love the 40th kit. I think there's a time and place for that as well. It's just great, but the solid gray really honestly looks good with that black outerwear. So, Stu, I saw you opened the store again.
a lot of new guys kind of trickled in during the winter, didn't place orders, and we had a few people asking. I mean, there's no real reason to keep it closed. I'm not like the Disney vault here, like locking up the DVDs. I mean, like open it up if dudes want to buy. It doesn't matter to me. So, open until I think end of March.
And then shipping mid-May to kit pickup in May.
Shipping mid-May, then we're gonna do team picture and
Wonderful.
yeah, kit pickup. Yeah, we're gonna do a
Will
kit
that be
pickup.
at Hangar?
It will be, Mike is gonna help us out with that, and then Barbacoa was sold, so they're new owners, right? They want to be much more involved in the team, so they want to sponsor food and have us over, and yeah, Barbacoa is all in, dude. These new owners are awesome. So
Great.
yeah,
Love it. Nice.
yeah, okay, cool. Brandon's been very quiet. We're gonna dig. We're gonna get the story out here. Just kidding. I don't know if we are, but
Nitty gritty.
maybe before I wrote a little introduction, but maybe Ryan, will you introduce? How do we know you, Brandon? How did it? Is it loaded, ya? Right? Is that what?
Ultimately, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want
Yeah,
me to do this, Ryan, or you want
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Noodle, what was your intro to the team? I actually don't know from your perspective how you got involved.
So, I mean, ultimately, when it really happened was that first year that you and I raced together, Ryan. That was 22, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
So
22.
that, but I mean, even so, the year before that, I was racing in Cat 4, and Zach West was in my group, and
Great
actually,
guy.
I think Pape was in my group too, and but I rode with Zach West for a lot for a lot of that day. And so I got to know him and I was like, and honestly, I think there's been somebody from the team in every year I've done loaded jaw. So I kind of had seen you guys around and then I talked to Zach. I was like, oh, yeah, these guys are really cool. And then the year that Ryan and I rode together,
Was
Ryan and I
2022.
mean, we spent a lot of time in the saddle that day. So
Oh
Did you
yeah.
that
find
really,
Ryan pretentious at that during that race?
well, the thing is Ryan and I actually weren't we weren't even racing against each other.
You gotta answer
So
the
we
question, Noodle. You gotta answer the
no.
Okay.
But we Ryan and I weren't even racing against each other, so it was kind of cool.
Oh,
We
right.
actually started like strategizing because we're like we can work together and
And both
technically both
win.
of us could win.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was kind of cool.
Yeah. The nice thing about that
One
year
of us
is
won.
yeah.
Oh,
The
Not
nice thing
me,
about that
Ryan.
year is like we had a group of 8 that went together and there was 4 in Cat 4 and 4 in Cat 4-5. And it was like the rest of the dudes were great, wonderful, but I saw Noodle and I was like, this dude looks like a great dude. So let's start strategizing how he and I can get the dub. And it worked out
nice.
great. I mean, I
Nice.
still consider it that it worked out great, even though one of us took second, the other took first.
Oh, you took second,
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah, I took second.
it was a celebrated too early situation.
No way. For real?
Yeah, yeah. We don't like to talk about it.
It's a great
But
learning
we're going to talk
experience, though.
about it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it sucked though. It really did. I celebrated too early and got passed right at the line. There's photo
Um,
evidence. It's
And props to the guy that beat you. Great sprint, but
huh?
oh yeah.
you had him by quite a ways if you hadn't stopped.
No way. Oh my no. Do we really want to talk about this? Should we talk
Probably
about it
not.
We can
now?
skip it. We can
Oh,
skip it
okay.
if you want. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. I
Um,
don't care.
so if you don't know Brandon, um, Idaho Falls, that's why you haven't seen him like ride with us right down here. But if you're on Zwift during the winter, um, Brandon rides with us. How did that happen? Ryan, was that you? You just extended the olive branch to, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say the following winter, just a couple months after we did that loadage, or maybe it was the following year. I can't remember. We were texting back and forth. I think we were chatting about bikes as one does with their bike friends. And I told him, why aren't you joining our Zwift rides? It's not like you ride any other times. So get in there.
So was last
Yeah.
winter the first? Or is this our second winter together or third?
And this is just the second.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So it
Yeah,
must have been a year
yeah.
after. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. If you go to Noodle Nelson at Noodle Nelson, very strong Instagram profile. A lot of dude, cycling's a big part of your life, correct?
Yeah, it
I,
is.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it feels
honestly
that.
it's taken over my
It,
life. It's a huge part of my life. So
okay. Maybe you want to start there? How come? Like, why did you? Maybe how'd that start, and then why'd you let it? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I definitely grew up not riding bikes. I BMX biked a little bit, but I was the type of kid that made fun of the guys wearing spandex. I never
Okay.
thought I'd be the one
Been a
doing
great
it, but
podcast. Thanks everybody for joining. Take care.
yep, yep. No, I did road construction while I was going to school. Did not live the healthiest lifestyle. A lot of gas station food, a lot of long hours and just unhealthy food. And I gained quite a bit of weight. And then I graduated from school, got a desk job. And honestly, I started running and I absolutely hated it. And I still do.
Fair enough.
Not unlike Ryan,
Oh,
but,
Right.
jeez. I don't like this title.
We should get into that. We should get into that.
but no, and my boss actually, he told me he's like, hey, you should come try riding bikes with us. And I'm sure whatever, I'll try it out. And I went out and ended up falling in love with it, and the rest is kind of history.
And
So
how long ago was that?
8 years ago.
So were you still working construction at that time or had you changed jobs?
Nope. I graduated from school, and I was actually working for the same company that I work for right now.
And what's that?
It's called Fusionware. We build produce supply chain management software.
Very cool. What do you do for them?
Right now, I'm the product manager. I started out as a software developer for them, and then moved into the product manager role 2 or 3 years ago.
That's cool.
Okay.
And
Oh,
it
go ahead.
seems like, sorry, Stu, it seems like
No, no,
there's
no.
a pretty good cycling community up there in Idaho Falls. Would you say that like, your boss is a big contributor to that? I mean, I just feel like I've seen you guys out on group rides. There's like 15 of you. It's great.
Yeah, we actually have a really legit cycling community up here. My boss is actually like the president of our local cycling club called Eagle Rock Cycling.
I'm sorry, they
Uh,
call their manager a president. Should I
well,
take this
I don't
name?
know. I don't know. I'm making things
Ryan?
up. We don't
President
even have an
Anderson?
official anything.
Oh, oh, okay. Never
We'll,
mind.
I'll be
we could call him
formally,
like boss. Should we call him boss?
I
I
don't know.
like
I don't
that.
know.
I mean, I might be calling Stu President Anderson from now on, Mr. President. I'm just saying.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, so he's been a huge reason why and honestly it kind of works out nice because it's like, hey, you mind if I take off and go on a bike ride? And it's like, well, yeah, you can go if I can come. So it
Phenomenal.
works out well. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Maybe talk for a sec about the other thing on your socials, heavy, is your very beautiful family. You want to talk about that for just a sec? Just maybe where you live, family and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like you said, I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho. My wife is actually from Idaho Falls, Idaho as well. We have three little girls. I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Mm.
So it's like a zoo at my house right now. So hence the early morning Zwift rides. And actually, Ryan and I were just texting the other day, wishing we could get out in the afternoons a little bit more because the weather up here is much more chilly than it is down in your neck of the woods in the mornings. Like saw Ryan got out yesterday. It was like 40 degrees or something, and it was like 28 at that time here. So yeah, it's a bit rough. But yeah, three little girls, and yeah, I got my wife into cycling a couple years ago. We're still trying to work on that a little bit so that it makes it easier to buy more bikes. But
Mm. It's a lot of
yeah,
tubeless tires to take care of. Trust me.
Yeah,
So much sealant. So much sealant.
it's
I'm
that's
true. I'm
awesome.
actually doing that today. So
bro, so much. Rye, any questions for Brandon about past or future? I mean, like right now about his life?
Yeah, so I keep joking that we want you to move down to Salt Lake, mostly because we enjoy riding with you so much, right? But what are your plans this summer? What have you got on the docket? What are some races that you've thought about doing? Any big plans?
I've got two, we'll call them my A races. I'm going to do Crusher and the Tusher. I was going to do that last year with Mr. Welch here, but it got canceled. So I rolled that over to this year. And then I was not going to. I even told my wife I wasn't going to, but I'm a terrible husband and I am going to do Low to again. So
Okay. What category are you leaning towards?
that is to be determined. I'm either
Okay.
doing the 35 plus A or 3-4 again.
Well,
So
just don't let Spangler convince you to do something dumb like 1, 2, 3s.
I won't. I won't
That's
allow that.
great. That's great. So
Welch, are you in for loaded ya?
I am not. I have done it 5 years in a row, and I have already told my wife and committed that I will be taking at least 1 year off. So,
Mm.
Better husband than me.
well, we just had a baby 8 weeks ago, so I feel like if I did, I would maybe not be in great waters.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Mhm. Yeah.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
Very good. Maybe Brandon, I don't know who put this. We've got a little agenda. There's some questions on here. There's a good question. I don't know who put this on here. Any moment or challenge that kind of like led you to be like, I'm gonna do this. This is a cool sport. Was there anything that made you be like, I dig this. I'm gonna get into this?
There is actually one specific moment that really, I think, kind of triggered that and told me like, wow, this is a lot of fun. It's so I just a little bit of background. I did a lot of snowboarding, wakeboarding, skateboarding growing up. And like in the snowboarding realm, I pretended to be like, I did competitions and did all that. So I kind of come from like a competitive background. I've always loved competing and having fun. So I when I started getting into riding with my boss, I started, oh man, I'm getting fast. I'm super fast. So he invited me to a group ride with some guys, and we were doing a ride around Idaho Falls. It was like 45 miles. And I was definitely nervous, but so I showed up and it was not 5 miles in, I was dropped. I mean, I was just gone. I was like, so I got humbled really quick. And
Wait, did they
I
wait for
ended
you?
up
Did they wait for you?
no, no.
Just
Well,
left
I
you.
told them to. I told them like they waited for me like three times, and then at one point, you know how it is. Like, guys, just
Oh yeah.
go. So I actually ended up doing the rest of the ride by myself, and it was that moment in that ride that I was like, well, that's never happening again. So it kind of pushed me to go to that next level, and the competitive side of me came out and kind of pushed me to get faster. So.
And just double clicking into that a little bit. So you would say that that moment was your competitive side realizing that cycling was going to be your outlet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It was
it
also
was,
a weight loss thing.
yeah,
I lost a lot of weight when I first started riding.
Mm.
That was what got me like continued to ride. But it was kind of at first it was like I'm just gonna ride bikes to lose weight. It's not gonna
yeah,
become my life. And then that happened, and it was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna get serious.
yeah, yeah.
So
And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most people I talk to, there's this moment where you're pretty casual, right? You're doing it for usually a reason like that. It's to lose weight or it's to, fight off dad bod, or something like that. And then a switch flips and it becomes an obsession. Would you say that that's when it switched from a casual hobby that you do with your boss to an outright obsession? Or do you think that happened more gradually?
I that might have been it. It might have been a couple other rides, but that was probably the main trigger point that it flipped. So
Yeah. And aside from that, moment where you decided you'd never get dropped again, do you have any favorite moments, where you thought to yourself, I'm loving this, I'm falling in love with this, is there any other times you pull on?
yeah, there's actually quite a few. One thing about cycling, and if anybody knows, it's going to be you guys. It's almost every year you almost have one of those moments where it's like this. That's why I do this. It sucks. You're suffering. It's miserable, and then you finish, and the reward is just unreal. So, the first time I ever rode 100 miles was Cache
Mhm.
Valley Grand Fondo in Logan,
Mhm.
and
Classic.
I went down there. My wife went down there with me, and it was just I came across the finish line. I actually think I'm pretty sure I was crying. Like my wife saw me crying, and I
Seven and a
just kind of
half
like
hours.
yeah, seriously. I It probably was honestly, but yeah, I just kind of was thinking to myself like, man, I didn't know that I was capable of doing something like that. And
Mhm.
then it was almost that moment in time where it's like, okay, what can I do next? What's the next thing? And then you just it's an addiction. You just
Yeah,
what's next? So
Mhm.
it really is. It's like runner's high on crack since I've
yeah.
been, named the runner of the group, I guess.
You are. You should change your Strava to,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
a
should be
athlete runner. Yeah, for
athlete
sure.
runner. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
That's
agree.
right. Loaded
Brandon.
jaw, loaded jaw was a big one too, though. Like when I
Yeah.
first finished loaded jaw, other than I wanted to throw my bike in the river, like riding along the Hoback. My first year,
Well,
I was like, "Oh, dude,
well,
I was
hang on. And how
done."
many times have you done loaded jet?
7.
And
Huh.
how many times have you won?
I've won 2 times.
Okay, very cool. Or podiums. It's got to be five.
I've been on the podium, including the two. I've been on the podium 4 times.
Got it.
Nice, dude.
That's a great ratio. And last
That's
question from
awesome.
me, and then Stu, I'll let you take it away. What's been your favorite loaded memory? Because I mean, 7 times you've got to have maybe one that stands out or two that stand out.
It was definitely one of my wins, but one of them was a little bit more special than the other. Most people that are going to be listening to this have probably done loaded jaw. So I'm gonna
We'll
talk about
operate
it
under
since
that
they know
assumption.
what it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah.
So at the very, when you're before you go over the river, that you're on a bike path and there's like a couple of little rollers. And there was a group of, I think there was 5 or 6 of us coming in right there, and one of the guys attacked. And I tried to follow his attack and I cramped up. I cramped up so bad that I had to get off of my bicycle. So I got off my bike and I was like punching my my hamstring to try to get it to loosen up. I got back on my bike and oh, there's 5 of us because I remember thinking in my head like, whatever, I'm gonna get on the podium, whatever. And then something clicked in my head, and I actually just like when I went over the bridge, went through the little dumb gravel section, turned onto the road to the final stretch, and something clicked in my head like they might be playing games up there. I wonder if I can catch them. And I just remember
Mhm.
like laying down on my handlebars and just hammering until I could see them. I saw them. So then I turned it up a notch even higher. I caught up to them and I sat on their wheel. And I just had like probably 30 seconds to catch my breath. And then I just took off on a sprint
Just
and
beast mode.
was able to beat them. So
Nobody followed you. Yeah.
uh honestly, I don't even look behind me. I just kind of like went. It might actually be that photo right there. There's a guy, you can't really see him, but he's like right behind me. He's
He's
from
behind
Jackson.
Shaw.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
awesome.
Fun. A couple quick things so people can get to know you a little better. First, I want to know what you ride. I mean, you have three bikes, correct? What are you riding these days?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So I've got a Ventum NS1, a Ventum GS1, and then I have a Scott Spark
Okay, cool.
for
And
mountain bike.
I hate to say this, but like, it feels like you borderline on like maybe being like sponsored by, are these companies like Zwift? I mean, we're going to talk about that. It almost felt like that bike was maybe gifted to you, or did you buy that thing?
You mean my trainer bike?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I did buy it, but I got a pretty good deal on it.
I know it feels
So
like your content and the things you create almost feels like there could be some pro action going on there. That's
and
good.
definitely no, definitely not
Oh, okay.
pro.
Okay, okay.
I will admit that some of the content creation that I do is very much influenced by that.
Nice.
I'm kind I yeah, I like a good deal on things. So
Good.
Oh yeah.
Ventum, so with Ventum, I guess you could say I'm quote unquote an ambassador. I don't know.
Nice.
It's
Okay.
not like anything official, but yeah. And then
Okay.
just there's like a local bike shop here that I ride for. And then Cav, I don't know if you guys have heard of Cav helmets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And ambassador for them as well. Uh yeah, and then I also ride and kind of work for Volt Cycle Wear as well. So
Yeah.
Volt.
mhm. Down there
Volt.
they're in Lehigh.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the guy that is it Jeremy? What's his name?
Kelly.
The, Kelly. Yeah, Big Kelly. Cool.
Mhm.
Nice. Favorite cycle snack? These are fast-paced questions. What's your go-to there?
In ride, I'm gonna go with donut. Post
Mm,
Ooh,
ride, I gotta go with ice cream.
very good.
okay.
But
So
we're gonna
what's
we're,
the donut of choice?
oh, okay.
It's gotta be chocolate, just a chocolate bar.
Fair enough. All
Straight,
right. Sorry, Stu.
no, no, no. I wanted to dive just a little deeper into a story that many have heard, but maybe we could flesh it out.
Oh no. Okay, let's do it.
Maybe you've seen the chats where somebody's like, "Hey, make sure that the Formula 369 you're scooping's not got caffeine in it, Noodle." Will you tell us the story about your caffeine
I will,
consumption?
yeah.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I actually started using Formula 369 before there was a caffeinated version. And I remember messaging Eric like, "Hey, are you ever going to come out with a caffeinated version?" And so when he did, I was jacked. Let's go because I apparently I've got a caffeine addiction. So the stuff the fuel that I used before had 75 milligrams of caffeine in it. And so I just looked at the package and I was doing Around the Rock. It's a 150-mile gravel ride. It's like 9,000 feet, 150 miles. And I mean, it's going to be 8 hours, like an 8 hour day. It's a big day, 8 or 9 hours. So I didn't even think about it. I looked at the packaging. It said 75 milligrams. For whatever reason in my mind, I was thinking per serving, but no, that's actually per
Per
scoop.
scoop.
Oh
So,
man.
Well,
so
dude, do you
I
not know
put
this story?
I heard it once and forgot that you did the per scoop. Oh
Dude,
my gosh.
I put 3 scoops of 75 milligrams in each bottle, and I think I did 8 bottles that day. It was like 1,400 milligrams of caffeine or something. And
It's so
and to
good.
top it off, like I think I even had an energy drink on the way to the ride too. So it was like even more. And yeah, it was wild.
Did you notice at any point that you were just absolutely just
I mean, you're
flying?
probably burning it off. I mean,
Well, so I didn't notice anything until I was up at 2 in the morning, just laying in my hotel bed. And I'm just sitting here like I have no issues sleeping. I sleep really well. And I'm just laying there like, what is happening to me? I can't sleep. I was getting pissed off. So I something clicked, like maybe it's the 369. So I pulled up the website and I started looking at it. at 2 in the morning, and it says 75 milligrams per scoop, and I was like,
Wait,
oh
what?
no, oh no. And one of my buddy was next to me. He's like, dude, why are you awake? And I was like, dude, I just drank so much caffeine. And but yeah, honestly, I felt great though. Like it's
Huh?
kind of tempting to do it again. Like
I
I,
agree.
I mean, I was smashing on the bike. So
Maybe a lesson learned here. We need to have 600 milligrams of caffeine when we ride
yeah,
Very
longer
good,
than,
dude.
maybe a big mountain.
I freaking love that. Thank you for being brave enough to tell that story, to record that. That was very good.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
good.
any piece of gear you can't live without, something you've learned to love.
I'm kind of a data nerd, so
Mm.
I kind of hour meter and computer. I probably should get better at like not caring about that stuff, but I'm such a data nerd that I I love having that stuff.
We're gonna have to dig in there. Ryan, any
Yeah.
questions
What,
about his
yeah,
data? Yeah.
first of all, what head unit do you use?
Mm.
Uh, Edge 1040.
Okay. And why is that the item of choice?
I had Garmin Power Meter pedals previously,
Got
and then
it.
I also have the Garmin radar, and so just kind of made sense for the
Because
ecosystem.
Hammerhead's dumb.
Whoa. Let's slow the roll there, huh?
Yeah, there really is no like real reason other than the Garmin ecosystem. I've got a Garmin watch. I've got it's kind of
Yeah.
like the Apple thing. Once you get an Apple, you just live by it. So,
And how
What
much
are
time a week would you say you crunch data, power
Ooh.
data?
oh, oh man, too much. Right.
We've all been there.
It, ah, well, let's just say that after every single ride, my wife is on me. Like, why are you still on your phone? You just get off your phone when you finish your ride. But I don't
Incredible.
know, probably 15 minutes a day minimum.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
This is a part of the podcast progression where I feel like I'm really missing an opportunity that this actually should be a forum for wives,
100%.
right? As soon as we finish this, just boom. The next podcast is Brandon's, is his wife.
Yeah.
We
Two
might do
sides of
that.
the same story.
That's what I'm saying. It'd be really
Right.
insightful. Yeah. Um,
I would love to hear that.
that's what I'm saying. Be like, if
Yeah.
that podcast is like 5 minutes long, she's like, I don't want to talk about this. This is asinine. Like, but
Although, since your wife shares a love for bikes, she may see, a
mm,
similar. She's saying get off your phone, but you say, hey, I'm just crunching the numbers. Maybe she's cool with it.
That's true. Except for every time I come up, I'm like, oh yeah, I hit some good power numbers. She's like, I don't care. Like, I don't even know what that means. So
are you using that data to are you coaching yourself? Do you kind of get into that?
not really,
Okay.
honestly. I I should more, but no. It's more just
Just fun.
recreational,
Okay.
we'll say.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
Cool. Uh,
So,
yeah.
Noodle, do you have a pre-ride ritual? Uh, let's call it before like a weekly ride or before like a big Saturday ride. What's your pregame?
If you want to call it a ritual, my go-to before at least like a big ride, I love me some pancakes, some pre-ride pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which brand?
man, whatever my wife buys that week.
Crusties.
Prestige.
My wife makes like homemade pancakes that are pretty
Oh,
bomb.
what?
She's
Yes.
legit. And then sometimes she'll do like some sourdough pancakes. Those are bomb too.
Sounds
Uh, other
phenomenal. Jeez.
Otherwise it will just be like honestly just like from the Krusty's bag. Every once in a while I'll do like Kodiak, but
Yeah.
I'm a
I
simple
will.
man.
I'm just gonna be straight up. There are some members of the team that are very opinionated about this.
Oh.
So you go ahead and ask Jack Bourne if he prefers Crusties or Kodiak. He'll go
Yep.
in for about 30 minutes and tell you why the nutritional facts of Kodiak cakes are not worth it. So
Maybe we should do a pot on pancakes, flapjacks. It's a good idea. I'm gonna write this down.
write that down, dude.
Have you
I
ever
think the
seen?
winner by a mile will be Brandon's wife's homemade pancakes for sure.
Yeah. Have
They're
you ever
bomb.
seen Ryan's pre-ride if he's going for a PR? Do you know what he does?
Let's hear it. I'm
Um,
excited.
Have you ever seen Gladiator when he rubs that dirt and then he sniffs it right before he? Ryan does that with Formula 369. He'll
Oh,
Little,
sweet.
little smelling salt mixed in
Nice.
there.
Right
I
into the
like it.
nasal.
I like it.
Yeah, you missed that at the start line of Lotoja, but I did it both times we rode. So,
Sweet.
Um, very good. Let's talk about Zwift. Can we do that for a sec? Transition a bit. The
Yeah.
setup, how you get into it, the racing. I mean, because I feel like it's a huge part of what you do, right? I mean, you love this.
Yeah, I do it a lot.
Okay, will you tell us about your Zwift setup and how it kind of formed?
Yeah, I started out just with like a dumb trainer. Uh I actually, to be honest with you, I absolutely hated riding indoors. And I mean, it's obviously still not the most amazing thing in the world, but I had to kind of, I'm a nerd. I'm not afraid to admit it. And some of the things that kind of keep me motivated are like really diving in. Like when I figure out I'm going to do something, I go all in. And so just having like a cool setup and making it a little bit more inviting just makes me a little bit more motivated, I guess. So I slowly just kind of upgrade and build my setup over time and add things that are going to hopefully keep me motivated. So yeah, I started out just with a dumb trainer, and then I upgraded to I bought a kicker offline for pretty cheap, and then I ended up buying a dedicated bike for it, and then I built some rocker plates. I've built my own set of rocker plates, but right now I'm running the kicker V6 with a Zwift ride frame on it. I've got two 42-inch TVs in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I run a dedicated Mac computer so that I can just it's just always there, always turned on. And then I actually do some a little bit of streaming as well, and like record my videos. Why
Yeah.
I don't really know, but it's fun and it keeps me going. So that really is probably the reason. So
And why the two TVs? Is Sauce for Zwift on one of them?
no, so the lower, so I've got the bottom one at an angle. So like I'm just like no neck kink. I'm just looking like straight down on it. That one has Zwift on it. And then the one above is like if I'm just doing like chilling, I've got like Netflix up there or a
Oh,
show.
nice.
Or if I'm, sometimes I'll have extra data from Sauce up there. Or if I'm racing with my team on on Zwift, I'll have Discord up there. We're
Mhm.
chatting on there. So
And you got a
yeah.
microphone too, right? Chatting for Discord.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
you've
for
got,
streaming. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
That's
then
sweet.
what's the camera you use that films you from the floor?
It's like some $20 camera off
Okay.
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
Just like a
just like a
webcam.
webcam. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a webcam.
Got it. And you're in multiple Zwift racing league teams, right? Well, I guess Duole is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm on what they call dirt. It's a dad's inside riding trainers. You guys
Mhm.
have probably seen them like
I
all
didn't
around
I didn't know that was the acronym.
yeah, dad's inside riding trainers. So I actually it was after the first year that I was doing riding with the team. Everybody, all of you guys started riding outside, and I'm like, well, I've got a little bit more time inside. So one of my old buddies that I used to ride with, he moved to California and he does team time trials on Zwift.
Hmm.
Welch, you've done them on like for the Zwift Racing League, but they actually do weekly team time trials, and it's like, I mean, I messaged him and he told me that that was like a huge, it bumped his fitness up huge. So I was like, ah, yeah, introduce me to the people that I got to know. So he introduced me to these guys, and I started doing team time trials with them on the weekly, and kind of just turned like a lot of them have become my pretty close friends. And then they also do Zwift Racing League. Right now, we're actually doing Dirt Racing Series. It's another racing league. Uh, so yeah, it keeps me going. It's one of those social things. Like if it's just me and I just got to get on my bike and ride by myself, sometimes it's easy to sleep in or like if you're going riding with the homies and they're like relying on you to show up, it gives you a lot more motivation. Like, oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Welch is waiting for me at the corner. I got to wake up. So same thing,
Happens
like
all the time.
accountability.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, it's been a lot of fun racing with those guys too. It's kind of like another community. So
very cool.
yeah.
Your rise to bike glory, you said was a bit of a weight loss journey, but can you maybe walk us through some of the things that you feel like you're strong, dude, successful rider. What is it that you think is like made that possible? Is it consistency or just yeah,
I was
hard job?
actually talking with a coach yesterday. I what it mostly comes down to, I feel like, is consistency. That's got to be number one. The number two is just like my drive. I'm just so competitive that
Hmm.
I just want to get stronger, right? Like if I'm riding with guys on Zwift or in real life or whatever, and I see them, I get dropped or whatever, it's just like my something clicks in me. Like, what are they doing that I can do better? And it just, I just always want to get stronger, and yeah. There's no secret sauce for me though. I've tried like trainer road. To be honest with you, it's just so boring. I can't do it. It's staring at a graph.
Just the
I've got to
numbers.
have I've got to have the social aspect. Um, but really, the a lot of this is, as dumb as it sounds, a lot of the group rides, like we do a Monday night group ride here in Idaho Falls that's like all out. I mean, it's fast. That those and then I would contribute it to riding with people that are stronger than me.
Hmm.
Um, it, I've whenever I mean snowboarding, I always kind of contributed to that. Like always riding with people that are better than me, learning
Mhm.
from other people. I'm never going to be the best, so I always try to learn from other people. Hey, what are you guys doing to get stronger? What how can I do better? And just learning from people that are better than me. But there's no like real secret sauce. It's just trying to keep up with people that are better than me.
Cool.
So
Great
yeah.
advice. Great attitude.
Yeah.
Welchie, any questions? Follow up?
Well, I guess I feel like just as an example, we had a conversation after the first couple times you joined the Midwelle rides. I remember you said, "Man, you guys are all so strong. This is insane," you know. And so, how have you felt like, joining the MD Tuesday, Thursday rides has been for you? Have you enjoyed it? You know, what keeps you coming back to the Dwelle rides and coming to camp? Like, what was it that stood out about the team?
Oh, dude, there's many things, but I love it. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've like been just in my basement by myself at 5:30 a.m. just like cracking up. Like I'm just like laughing so hard at some of the messages. Uh I'm a real social guy. Like any like I it's everybody's just so awesome. Like I don't think I've met anybody on the team that isn't just rad. Like I'll be honest, when I was going to camp last year, I was a little bit like, oh man, I don't know what to expect. Like I don't know a lot of these guys. I only know Welch and like a couple other dudes. Like everybody was so cool, super inviting. Like I just had a great time. So just riding with everybody on the team in Lodajaw from years past. I've ridden with guys in Cache Valley, in what is that? Cache Valley, Grand Fondo. And then as you know, as Welch and I have become friends and just kind of meeting everybody else through him, just hilarious guys, super fun. Um, I'm the type of guy like I'm competitive. I love cycling and I love like essentially every ride is a race. But I feel like there's a lot of guys in the cycling, and this is not meant to be offensive to anybody because this is just kind of how it is. But there's a lot of people that
I
take
love a good
cycling
hot
a little
take.
bit. They just take things too seriously. Like, why can't we all be competitive and be friends, but and not just be a dick to everybody? So, pardon my language, but
NSFW, I love it.
there's a lot of dudes that are just kind of jerks, and I kind of want to change that the view of cycling to like embracing and like I mean, it's already hard enough to find people to ride with. Like, why do we got to be jerks to them and leave them out even more? So I love community. You guys have an amazing community. So just being able to join in with that has been a lot of fun for me.
That's
So,
great. Stu kind of mentioned at the beginning that there were a number of guys that have joined the team or kind of been one-off add-ons throughout the winter. That some of them may be their first time coming to camp this spring, in 16 days or whatever it was that we said. As someone who came to camp relatively blind, you knew me, but that was really it. Do you have any suggestions for these new members of how to better integrate into our group, right? Like what would you suggest they do? Because I feel like for someone like you who doesn't live in the Salt Lake Valley, it would be easy to just find your niche and stay there, right? But you've been able to integrate completely in the team. So what suggestions do you have to those guys?
I think the biggest suggestion would just be that like everybody's cool. Like you go talk to any person there and they're going to be willing and wanting to chat with you and just embrace it. Don't try not to it's intimidating. All like I know there's some strong dudes and it's like do I even dare talk to them? But all of them have just been super cool. So just embrace like then just realize that everybody's there just to have fun and be friends. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I love that attitude. I agree with you, Brandon. Like I have this funny saying, we use it in my work here, that life's too short to do business with people that, like, why would I do business with you? Like, you're a terrible, I hate being around you. You're like a terrible person. And it's like, I choose to do business with you. Like, why would I do that? Like, I'm not going to do that. And I think it's the same here. It's like, listen, life's too short. Like, my time is precious. Like, I'm not going to associate with people that are jerks. Like, that's just silly. Like, don't.
yep.
And I think I mean, credit to the people that are drawn into this crowd that are like, oh, I want to fit in here versus the guys that are like, well, what can I get out of this team? Like, I'm going to join them because they got deals. Like,
Discounts.
that sucks. But dudes like you, that's why I think it's so fun is, I mean, I know it sounds silly, but there's always like two or three guys that we meet at Lotaja that are like, what are you? What is this? Why is it that this is cool?
Mhm.
And dude, it's just fun. It's like cool to see like-minded guys kind of flock together. So anyway, dude, way to go, dudes. Unite. Cool
That's
guys
And
right.
unite.
ladies, and
Oh
ladies.
yeah, and
And
ladies.
ladies.
A
Let's,
few,
let's,
just a few.
yeah. Hopefully more at some point, but
Very good.
yeah.
I've got to say one thing about camp. I've got to let you like one thing that I had no idea that this happened at camp, but like I showed up for the first ride. I think it was Matt Dalton. Like you guys had him like give a speech, and I was like, this is rad. Like I'm getting inspired. Like we're not just showing up to ride bikes. Like I'm getting motivational speeches. Like
Yeah.
let's go. That was super cool, honestly. Like
Dad
Shout out
you
goals.
could
Dalton.
tell you could tell that everybody was like almost like a family, you know? It was super cool to see everybody come together and yeah, I really enjoyed that.
You know what's the best part of that?
What?
It's in a Harmon's parking lot. You got people walking by thinking, what
Yeah.
in the world are these guys doing? We're having like a discussion. It's great. It's great. You wouldn't get it if you're not there, you know?
Harmon. We were kind of like
That
tucked
is
behind
true,
that. We
man.
were like tucked behind that bank or whatever that's like not even open yet. Like,
I just remember looking over and there was this mom with like two kids just giving us this glare as she was walking by, like, what on earth are 100 cyclists doing at 4 p.m. on a Thursday?
me duel, me duelo.
Look at all that tight lycra.
That's funny.
That's right.
Uh, Welch, as we wrap up, any final questions? Anything you want to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like this comes with content creation and your drive to be a family-oriented person, a competitive cyclist, but you really give off a certain kind of energy, right? So I wanted to ask you, if that was intentional, if you really give thought of how people, view your social media and you as a cyclist, or if that just is innate with being an awesome dude, do you really try to manicure your persona?
I do.
There's no shame in that.
You
No,
should
no.
no, yeah. Honestly, this is where Stu goes into the next podcast with my wife, and she could tell you. No, I'm not like super articulate about it or anything, but I do, I'm pretty picky about what I post and what I don't post. Uh, there's no like, once again, there's no like secret sauce, but I just kind of, how do I say this? Is this a safe space? Is this safe? Are we good
Very
here?
safe.
No, I'm
We're
just
in the
kidding.
nest.
Absolutely.
We're in the nest.
Um, no, cycling doesn't necessarily give off like the cool vibes, I guess, always. It does to me. But like from an outsider looking in, I've always been like, how can we like make this more inviting? Like this isn't like some lame like that. I'm kind of always looking for like what can I do to make this look a little bit more inviting to people so they'll come in and realize that this is fun and this is they're out there having a good time with their buddies. They're not just out there wearing spandex and whatever. So
We're doing
that's
both.
one of the things. And I've always been, growing up, I always made videos like snowboarding videos and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of just translated over into that. I just like doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's not like super rewarding for what I put into it, but it's just a lot of fun for me. And I'm pretty particular about what I post though, Welch. I don't really have a like an exact rhyme or reason to it, but if it's not up to whatever the standard is that I don't know what it is, I won't post it. So
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I think where I was going with that is exactly what you touched on was if you were to just go and blindly look at a cyclist profile from Idaho Falls, right? And you stumbled upon Noodle Nelson on Instagram, you would find a truly awesome ambassador of what it means to be a really competitive and strong road cyclist, as well as a through and through family man who cares deeply about family and work and things like that, right? So I guess the reason I asked is because it's easy to tell that just emulates through you as an entire persona, and it was apparent to me when I met you at Loaded Jet. It's why I wanted you to get involved with the team. And if there's one person that you don't have to convince that there's not as much kickback on the effort given, it's Stu, because he runs this team, deals with people's problems all the time, and a team of like basically 200 plus members. They're going to have tons of questions. His output is not matched with any input that he receives in any level of fairness, right? So it's just you get guys who are willing to commit their lives, commit so much of what they do to a cause, to making cycling cool, to creating a unique community. And so it's just cool to see it shines through. I was curious if it was intentional. So
Hmm. Great
appreciate that,
question,
Welch.
Welch. Yeah. Thank you. I had a quick question. Well, my final question, Brandon. If you were going to describe, I don't know, maybe your like we've heard a bit about this today, but like your life's mantra, like Brandon's theme, your like I don't know your quote, right? What kind of drives you? What's your motivator? I mean, I know you've said competition, but it's got to be deeper than that. Like what, maybe as a man, as a dad, as a psych, is there anything that you would say like, here's my quote, here's my mantra?
Have to think about it for a little bit, but
All right.
honestly, one of my favorite sayings that probably doesn't encapsulate everything, but I really like the saying of like stop taking life so seriously. Like let's have fun with it. We can be business, we can do business, we can work hard, but we can play hard. And that's really what it comes down to. I uh stop taking life so seriously, man. Like
that's awesome.
let's have fun. Uh
Yeah.
yeah,
That's why you wanted a 40th anniversary kit.
that's right.
You want to
I
party.
love that kid. Somebody was saying it was well. She's like, "Oh, we made it through the 40th." I'm like, "Dude, I love that kid. I bought Stu's ski suit."
I didn't say that.
Ski
What?
suit. I told Ryan that this morning. I'm like, dude, Brandon bought my skin suit.
So
Yeah, dude,
good.
I'm showing up to the day one at camp wearing a skin suit.
I
We're
want you to freak
racing.
just time
It's on.
trial up Snow Canyon.
It's on.
Please
It's
put
on.
like tri bars on your bike or
Oh,
something.
please don't. Brandon,
I'm bringing my tri bike.
dude, anything that we missed that you want to talk about? You want to share about yourself?
Not really. You guys did a great job. Cycling's rad. You guys are rad. I appreciate the community. It's been like seriously, it's been a ton of fun. We've got an awesome community up here, but you guys are rad too. There's definitely days where I'm like, man, I wish I could go ride to the towers with those dudes, or
Nice towers.
was that like a sore subject or something?
No,
No,
I'm just
add
imagining. I'm imagining you leaving, just going up towers with us. So good.
just adding another tower, just a fifth tower, you
So
know?
many towers.
Yeah.
Rats.
No, I that's not, yeah, there's not really much more to add. Yeah.
He's humble. He's handsome. He's strong. He is Brandon Nelson, everyone.
Boom. Boys, I can't wait to ride with you at camp. It's gonna be great.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Noodle.